Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. I'm sorry I haven't been back in a little while. Again, I have been working full time, so I don't have as much time to do this. And of course, I had hoped to regain my former career, but somebody's still blocking me at OPM, so I can't get my records. So this is part of the continuing ongoing saga of trying to destroy a human being. So we're going to talk about all that today. But as we do, I want to make sure that you don't assume that you know who the characters are involved, right? Because by now, this has extended so far beyond the reach of the original investigation. It actually has touched the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of people, divine masculines and divine feminines alike. Now, when I mention a particular uh, astrological sign or zodiac sign, and you think, I know who that person is, well, remember, there are hundreds of thousands of people with that sign. And so don't assume anything. I don't want people to be othered, shamed, humiliated, harmed, or cast aside because you're assuming stuff, because assuming makes an ass out of you and me. We all know that, right? So just take it as a collective reading. Now, if you happen to think something that's very pertinent to this that could help solve the crime, well, then by all means join the fray, right? Because this is all about cleaning up our country. But don't assume, don't hurt people. Just take actions to make things better if you can and are in a position to do so. So, there are at least two big bad wolves that want to kill me. At least two. Actually, there's probably more than that because the plots continue, folks. We're 6 years in and the murder plots are still happening. So, because there are so many entities involved, I think as a country, we deserve to know. We deserve to know who paid for what, right? Who paid for the murder plots? Who paid for the sex trafficking? Who paid for poisoning my husband? Who paid for the kidnapping? Who paid for the organ trafficking? Now, we say it's all one group or the other. Now, do we know that? Or have we divvied it out to the rightful owners? I think we really need to get down to brass tacks and find out who actually paid for what portions of the indecency and filth. So please, detectives and federal prosecutors, find out who paid for what action, right? I really appreciate that. Now, I know that there's at least one entity that has a stinger and could be associated with a burning sun, a Leo, and that burning sun could want to like crisp me, right? So that's one entity that we know of that could possibly be involved. There's another entity that wears a two-faced mask and constantly shoots from the hip. There's another potential person. And we have the people who are trying to block me on YouTube, which could be one of these entities. I'm told it could be the person with the stinger. And you have to ask yourself, why would these people be so religiously trying to block me? And I think the answer to all of that is when you are in a place of power and money and you've done something wrong, you use your power and money to keep people poor and just on a treadmill struggling so that they can't afford justice. And so they block every opportunity that could help you to bring justice because that's the level of greed, corruption, and sickness that some of these people are going through. So I've been told that a person with a stinger was involved in helping to block me on YouTube. So that should help you to dial in if you feel that's appropriate. So, but again, it comes down to the intentions. Why would somebody do that? Again, if you want to keep someone stuck, unable to get justice so that you can hide behind the money you paid to take a person out, well, this is one way you would do it. And FNG, the fucking nice guy, was the fucking nice guy getting paid somehow for the destruction? Was he being promised something aside from just, vampiring off of me, right? Because a lot of this was about stealing all forms of energy, life energy, spiritual energy, every kind of energy, ability to make money, just try to destroy a human being from top to bottom, correct? So was he being promised something for the destruction aside from what was happening where I was being blocked? Okay, that's a good question. And really, a lot of this I'm seeing is coming down to the 1% who has stolen everything does not want the 99% to get justice. Okay. Because they're rich, and they feel entitled and privileged. And they have committed egregious crimes that are horrifying for the mind to wrap itself around. And maybe they didn't envision all of this when they gave the 500K to have me taken out. And yet these things have unfolded in this fashion. So obviously very little thought went in, or they just thought they were above the law, or thought they had enough protection, and things wrapped around them that nothing would ever come to light. And yet we now know 500K, it sounds like, was paid to have me destroyed as a human being. And I had absolutely nothing to do with this. Not one thing. I'll polygraph. Not one thing. So anyhow, we need to find out who paid for which parts of the filth that happened. I mean, I don't know about you, but I want to know, was it women that paid for sex trafficking me? Was it a church group? Who was it? I think we all deserve to know the truth, whatever the truth is, right? Again, I live in Switzerland now. I just want the truth. Who paid for what? Okay? And we know that there's other groups involved too. So it could be a secret society that paid for parts of it. It could be a particular organization. It could be a particular religious group. Some of the likely culprits. And certainly somebody was trying to get initiated into a secret society by doing what they were doing to me. And, the gang, money that they had to pay to get in was delivering my head on a platter. That was the entry price. So, it could be any number one of these entities. So, again, don't assume and don't think you know, because I'm giving you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of possibilities. But this secret society, though I stopped reading the books because they were obviously written by someone with a very jilted impression who said this is a benevolent brotherhood. Right. Really, what that secret society looks like is a mob gang who has international reach, who has bought off entire arms of the justice system so that they can corrupt DOJ and steal money from court cases. And also, yes, start world wars, right? So I'm not sure how benevolent fits into that. But if you're curious as to which groups or people could be involved, again, have a look at the book of mine that got stolen and copyrighted by some F up. It's called Betrayed, and AOC and Merrick Garland have a copy, and you will then know exactly which organizations to look to for as potential payers for these crimes. And again, for me now, it's all about the truth, baby. I just want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I no longer care who they are. And it could be any number of these people. And I think we all deserve to know. I really do. And one of the reasons I really want to know, because part of the 500K was intended to have me bullied to death. I want that to sink in. Bullied to death. And guess what? They almost did it, right? To make a person's life so miserable that you just die from the horror you're going through, or you take your own life. Bullied to death. And I had not one thing to do with this. Not one thing. And proof of that plan, I'm told, exists because we have great detectives on the case who have found proof of what's going on. So, this is all going to come to light. And I'm so very sorry for the people who involved themselves in this, who maybe never foresaw the filth and indecency and horrors that were going to be paid for with that 500K. And yet you did pay, and you are a part of this. I am very sorry for what's coming for you. And I mean that genuinely. A lot of the people involved were people I actually truly admired, so much so, right? No longer, though. Okay. So, questions that I have are, Was the Secret Seven in my shower? How many people were in my shower? Did one human being in America, or I think they've had me in England and maybe other countries too, did one human being have the decency to say, we shouldn't be doing this? These are potential leaders, who could be involved in this. Did one of them have the decency, or were they all just filthy fucking perverts who just didn't give a shit so long as they could bully a human being to death for money? That's the question I'm left with. So I think we need answers. And again, we need to know who paid for each part of the horror that has unraveled. So a big question I have, and I know government wants to hide all of this, but who paid for the pay for pornography and who signed up, right? You have ways to determine this, and I want to know who was involved. How many people were in my shower? How many people were watching my family have sex? And then posting pictures they literally took in my house, making comments on my body, posting pictures of my cat, like my house was their house. They turned my home into a freak show. That's what some of the 500K went for. And somebody made money off the pay for porn. Someone made fucking money off of it. Where's that money? Do you think the pay for porn people deserve to keep it? Or, should that go to something better, right? And, if you're doing pay for porn, right, and somebody's shower and watching family have sex, that's sex trafficking. I want motherfucking names. And I don't give a shit who they are. Okay? All right. So, here I'm going to give strong encouragement to my government because this has been going on for a long time. Now we have new leadership. So this is on the new leadership right here, right now. Please stop the nationally sponsored pornography program you are running in Americans' homes. Is that too much to ask? Is that, can we hope for that kind of decency from our leaders? Joe, I want the national porn program stopped. I want answers. I want them soon. I want every name, every name, every name, every name, every name. You've been doing this for decades. You've been allowing this for decades. You people are out of control. So, was the, fake nice guy involved in the pay for porn program? How about the, organization that he represents? Was it all being run over a social media platform? Who was the boss? Who was the boss of this? Oh, I want to know, right? Who said, let's run a pay for porn program? And was it paid for with the 500K? All right. And you know what I think of all you people that did this and didn't have the decency to speak up? You're a bunch of sex freaks and deviants. And I don't care what your damn job is. And other Americans who are watching this, again, this happened to an innocent family, a pay for porn program, because our government's so out of control. Guess what? If we don't fix this, your family's next. It's been going on for decades, and they won't clean up their shit. I'm going to suggest you flood so many letters in to our government to talk about the filthy pay for porn program that they can't deliver enough FedEx trucks for the horror that's been purported in people's homes. Okay? Just remember, I had nothing to do with this. So your family is next because they're out of control. And whoever did this and paid, it is one of the most undemocratic, uncivilized, indecent abuses of power I've ever seen in my life. But that wasn't the only one, right? The abuses of power went so far and so deep because that 500K paid for so very much shit, right? It also paid for torture, right? Years and years of torture. And the torture was being done for money. If we can just keep that bitch down on the ground, keep her upset and crying and lashing out over the indecencies, we can steal money. right? It's all about the indecency of keeping a human being down, snuffing their light out so we can steal money and say she's crazy, right? And why was some of this being done? Okay, again, we've mentioned some of this, but it was because someone had created a fake power of attorney over my life. Then they hired a fake doctor to say that I was mentally unwell. When in reality, what was happening was they were using the illegal voyeur cameras to drive me crazy. You know, having cameras everywhere in your house that you have no control over. You know, everything's being filmed, it's filthy. And the very people who are filming, you can't get them to stop, right? Because they have abuses of power happening over your life. So it was extremely strategic torture, and at times, this torture was used to get an emotional reaction so that they could bring that emotional reaction to court, say, see, she's crazy. When in reality, this was exactly the same thing as, say, you had people in Nazi Germany, for example, in showers where you were going to cyanide them to death. And you tell them, okay, they pack them in like cattle, tell them to undress. They have already seen the smokestacks going. They already know people disappear once they go in there. And then going in and filming the horror and the fear and the upset over the torture, and then saying, see, these people are crazy because we have it on film. When really it was the torture that was causing the upset. Do you understand? So this was used very strategically. And while I was in Boston, they put a hidden camera in the shower head in my shared shower in dormitory living. So they were voyeuring off of everybody that took a shower there, including all of my roommates. And they did this very strategically during court proceedings to get a reaction so that they could say I was nuts because I was upset because I found filthy cameras in my shower, because this was all about porning out a woman, right? And keeping her so upset so they could steal money. This is the most sadistic motherfucking thing I've ever seen in my life. And this is coming from our government. And somebody paid for all of these actions, right? 500K, take her out. I want to know who paid, right? I want to know who paid for all of this torture in a quote civilized democratic country that is currently falling apart before our very eyes. Pay for porn with intentional sadism, doing filthy things to a woman to create a reaction so the reaction would happen in court so you could say, see, she's crazy. Just as if you were filming inside of a Nazi smokestack or, cyanide shower space, and then watching the horror and the things that were coming out because of the fear and the feeling of lack of control over your own life, and then saying, see, these people are crazy, when really it was just all about the torture, right? In Boston, a government employee had to have been involved and was likely bribed because keys were required to get into my building. So, in every instance of the abuse that we have seen, corrupt officials have been involved. This is a government crime, A to Z. Okay, and they want to hide all this, and I'm not going to allow it. Why? Because I actually give a shit about my country, and I don't think these kinds of indecencies and abuses and crimes against humanity and the filthatization of women, especially by a party that says they, support women, but really they're sexitizing them, should be allowed. Okay, so I'm not going to shut up. And the more you ask me to shut up, the louder I'm going to get. Do you understand? I'm going to expose all of this bullshit. Why? Because I actually do care. And this is unacceptable human behavior. This is sociopath. This is sickness, right? But sickness is on more than one part, right? Somebody paid for this shit. Somebody enacted it. Government officials all along the line helped with it. So if we want a better country, we have to work at fixing this. Not covering it up, Joe. Not covering it up. Covering it up is how Stinky Hill got to be Stinky Hill, right? You uncover this shit. You throw the people out on their asses. And you make a point, say, this shall not pass. And then you clean the shit up. Okay. All right. So the direct payment also, also probably helped pay for the copycat. And I'm told there is a person who actually is running around with my birth certificate, my driver's license, who's getting liposuction, trying to look like me and pretending to be me. Oh, and by the way, I think I just found another form of fraud with the Vault Visa payroll. You might want to call 888-333-4698 with an account ending in 9329. That's not me. That was set up originally because I thought I was going to have another job, and then I canceled out of it, but I'm getting emails that it's in effect. So somebody's doing something weird with that. So all of this stuff that's happening, the copycat energy, the the fraud, the trying to slow everybody down. It's all so that rich people can hang on to the money they stole or not be outed for what they actually paid for. And some of these people are running around and saying, you should diss this person and not listen to that person, and you should harm this person and block this person. And they were the ones that paid. Okay? I want you to think about that long and hard, okay, and start putting the pieces together. And some of the people that, were enticed to enact the bullying and the filth and the sex trafficking were promised some kind of raise or elevation in job status or group accolades, for abuse well done. Okay, so what we are really witnessing coming out of our halls of power right now is sexual abuse, sadism, and sociopathy. And, it could be because people wanted power at any cost and they didn't get it, so they were angry. They thought they knew what was going on, they didn't, and they decided to take action, right? Only what they thought happened didn't happen. It could also have been happening because, once you've stolen that much money, you just have to keep the victim beaten down any way you can by causing the emotional reaction and sex trafficking them and selling their naked body so that you can hang on to the money you've stolen, right? So really, in truth, this was all about torture for money. That's what this was. Now, there was also an illegal study done by the government. And again, different groups of people could have asked for these different things because I fell in the middle of two warring parties and I didn't want to be there, but I was placed there. And so everybody is after a piece of me, whether it's my crotch or my light or my inner fire or whatever. So there was also the MK Ultra program that was done. And I want the people that called for that to go to jail. It's an illegal program. It causes cancer. I have cancer. I don't need more cancer. I didn't need that to happen to me. My husband had nothing to do with this either. He didn't need it. It's meant to cause memory loss. So maybe they can, get you to forget the torture that you've been through, right? That's real special. And part of that was done so that a corrupt official could buy school uniforms, fancy school uniforms for his kids, right? So, hey, let's do more government torture on families if we can get school uniforms out of it, like they're not making enough money. So, and then it's my firm belief, and I think this has been going on for a long time. I don't think it was unique to me based on a book that I've looked at, that when certain people come into your house under, an investigation, hordes of witches, which are torturers, copycatters, people who cast spells, bribe, lie, slander, basically do everything to destroy a human being are allowed in the door. I have to wonder just how many people were in my shower, right? I think there are a lot of people who are on YouTube who were in my shower, viewing my crotch and, being real spiritual. So, and also figuring out, trying to listen to you to get passwords so they can all thieve and copycat. And I'm even told, the NBA and the film industry and the music industry were all involved. So, when you come under government investigation, which I understand why that happened, it isn't one person that comes in the door. It's witches and warlocks and thieves and all kinds of other bad people that they just, come on in, let's go get in a woman's shower, because that's so godly, right? We're one nation under God, but we're allowing this stuff to happen. And Joe, I'm not going to shut up, just so you know. I want you to clean this fucking mess up, right? I moved heaven and earth to get you into office. Heaven and fucking earth, right? Gave you the book, the complete blueprint of what happened, who did it, how they did it, stopped the coup. I want you to clean this motherfucking shit up. It's that simple, right? When somebody comes into your house, whoever that person was, because, it could have been the CIA, whoever, we don't know who it was, but whoever it is shouldn't be coming in with witches and warlocks from all over the world so they can thieve and copycat from you and basically begin a many-year-long program of vampirism to steal everything that's you, your spirit, your soul. Guess what? Read between the lines. Can't have this, right? But they sure tried, right? And anything you do, they latch on to because it's a form of torture, right? So the torture continues and everybody can sit back and laugh and, suck everything up that you are as a human being dry. So it's like prolonged torture that the government is sponsoring. And they did this on innocent families. Innocent families. Innocent families. Somebody paid for this. Somebody paid for this. So, and again, I think everybody that was invited in on the big gangbang all had access to the cameras, right? So, probably the property manager and all of the gang members down there and the druggies. And, again, you can't assume any one person, right? Because there were so many people in the house. So don't assume, don't shun, don't humiliate, just get to the bottom of it, right? It was like a gangbang in my house, right? Your house is next if you don't fix this. This is a very fucked up tactic being used by Big G, and it includes witches, warlocks, copycatters, gangland members, and mobsters also. Yeah, all the mobs involved, drug cartels, right? Were they all in the shower with me? Who knows, right? But I sure would like answers, Joe. I would really like answers. So, I'm told that Hollywood and the NBA were involved. Again, these are rich people who are witches who like to practice witchcraft. They're rich, but they need, just like politicians, more money. So they all took a cut, and they were all promised that they would get a cut from the torture and the thievery. So who cut those deals? I think we all deserve to know, right? Who cut those deals? And again, the copycat energy is used to try to spiritually murder a victim while taking every creative thing that they have come out of them, steal it, and then profit from it, while keeping the person who is coming up with all the ideas and working for it in poverty. And the whole poverty thing, right, is all about not being able to get justice, because when the rich and privileged steal from you, they have lots of money and they buy off the justice system, and then they make sure you don't have any money so that you can't get any justice. But we live in a democratic society, right? We look more like fucking Russia right now. Okay. And again, there's a book out already that indicates this witch warlock program has been going on for some time. So it's about time we clean the shit up. Don't you think, Joe? I do, right? And again, if you care about America, really care, right? Genuinely care about decency, about uprightness, about not abusing power. We're all upset about the other side abusing power. What about our side abusing power? Then you need to shut down the national pornography program, Joe. Yeah. Hey, go for it, buddy. We'd all like to see that. You have the power in your hands. You could fix all this stuff. And this has been going on for a long time. Now, I'm sure, you probably were not involved at all, but you have the power to fix it. And you could be such a hero for the American people if you could fix the national porn program and the witch and warlock program and the torture program. Okay, I think that would be great, don't you? Now, also, we're going to talk about the secret society that somebody was trying to get into. And the fact that they use a pedophile picture to rape money off of court cases, right? Without a single thought to the child they abuse or the family that they then try to ruin and suck dry. So they have to ruin both the little child and the family in order to gain money, but it's all about the money, baby, so that we don't care who we hurt with this. Now, I wrote to CPS to try to get this fixed, and sadly, I heard officials were bought off not to fix it. So, again, you need to go through all the old court cases because the sex trafficking by our governments happened before. And you could find out who's doing it. You could solve it. You could find out who's been making money off of crotch. You could find out who's been making money off of pedophile pictures in this secret society, and you could shut the motherfuckers down. I think that's a great idea, don't you? I mean, if you want to live in a decent country where, we're not making money off of kids' naked bodies and families' naked bodies, Joe, it's time to get busy. I'm here to encourage you and to help you bring forth the truth, the light, and the decency back to America. I have faith in you, Joe. I really do. I have faith that you're going to clean house and take care of this shit. And it's going to start with some of the secret society stuff. Again, filthatizing a woman for money, filthatizing children for money. They've been doing this for frickin' years. Hurting one kid after the other, probably with that pedophile picture. Also, they could steal money. What a sickness we've turned into. So you might think I sound angry. Upset. Of course, I'm angry and upset, but mostly I'm angry and upset because our country's turning into a freak show. And I have faith in you, Joe, that you're going to fix this. So again, don't hide it. Don't try to sweep it under the carpet. Don't try to hide who paid. We need to expose these people so they stop doing this kind of crap. Okay. And again, I tried reporting to Child Protective Service, the MO that's being used because it's ruining children's lives and families' lives, and it's all being done for money. But again, officials got bribed because evidently everyone in our government who makes more money than everyone else needs to steal to, get ahead. That's what it's looking like. So we have top people in our party who are doing this to make money. And how in the world are we supposed to look up to these people and be proud, Joe? How in the world? How in the world? This is about cleaning up both sides. And we need to get off this two-party system because it's a winner-take-all thing. And so we're at the point of just trying to murder each other. So it's not working anymore. But how can I look up to people who are doing this kind of shit to make money, trying to ruin families' lives? It's just ridiculous. And some of these people that were involved in this are people that you sit next to. Yep. You would be utterly shocked to learn who the perverts are. But again, being in a person's shower, selling the image, that's sex trafficking, my friends. And, selling out a little kid's body, what a bunch of fucking perverts. Filthy fucking perverts. So, and to make all of this happen, again, the secret society, they're so special. They're really special. They're buying off whole strings of the DOJ to make this work, right? Cops, lawyers, and judges, so they can subvert the entire justice system and make money off of pedophile pictures and ruining families. And so they can rape money off of court cases. So this is what's happening, Joe, in our country. I think you should know. You seem like an upright guy. If you are, it's time to get really busy working on this. I have faith in you that you're going to work on cleaning up what we've all become, both sides, right? Parties become filthy beyond compare, to the point that, people no longer want to vote because everybody's corrupt, right? And I know there's a judge involved. He's going on a pork-a-hoe-a-thon. Yeah, baby, because he's running a prostitution circle. This is a judge going on a pork-a-hoe-a-thon. I have a nickname for him. He's Hoe Master Flash. He's Hoe Master Flash. And Hoe Master Flash can't do the right thing because he's porking a hoe that's probably in his hoe circle. Again, Do I care? No, I want the shit cleaned up, Home Master Flash. I do. I mean, this is America that we're talking about, right? Home Master Flash. Your ass should be out of there, brother. I'm not kidding you. It's Porkahoathon time in America. And boy, that Porkahoathon is really doing some numbers on people, isn't it now? All right. So, yes, I am laughing. And will I ever heal from all of this? No. Can you heal from this kind of filth ever? Probably not, right? But I'm working. I'm holding down the schedule. I'm finding some time to laugh. I'm doing the best I can, but I'm in shock at where we are as a country, like literally in shock at the indecencies and how broken we are. And if you don't give a shit, it wouldn't matter, right? But if you give a shit, you got to realize we have hit an all-time low, right? Oh, and that brings me to the latest Redrum plot. And of course, if you read that the other way, well, you kind of get what that spells, right? So this was another plot that people picked up on. So again, that 500K has gone a long ways, folks. So if I were you and you have a couple people running around saying, this person is a bad person, you need to block them, you need to stop them from working, you need to this. These are people who are trying to starve me out because they paid a shitload of money, and that shitload of money has gone towards all kinds of rotten fucking things. And the last murder plot I heard about was supposed to happen last weekend. I chose to go away for the weekend, but I mean, they're hearing these conversations, right? And the people in charge were going to create a power outage in my house, have the power turned off, because the local sheriffs helped to give them keys, right? And also pictures of me off the fridge and my birth certificate and all that. They were just going to then in the middle of the night with a power out come in and murder my husband, Kat, and I in our sleep, right? So this is, I don't know how many attempts at my life, but that 500K, wow, that went so far, right? So you need to be careful who you're listening to, and you need to start questioning what the motives are behind things, because this is what's going on. And again, I'll polygraph. I had nothing to do with any of this. Not one thing. Not one thing. So anyhow, we're still on the murder plots, folks. And I'm told that a really bad person is tracking my car, my phone. They're in my email constantly. I cannot trust that any messages sent to me on my phone or email will get through. I just can't. We are living in constant danger. This constant danger is emanating from Stinky Hill. Now, what I wonder is, anybody else involved in a case this big would already be in witness protection. I got caught in the middle of two warring parties. I had nothing to do with any of it, but my life has been in danger ever since. Are there enough honest government officials left that you can even put me in witness protection and protect me? Are there? I mean, I've had corrupt people in my house since day one. The whole reason the initial problem didn't get fixed was because of pardons. And that happened because of corrupt officials in my house. So I've had corruption in my homes from the government for 6 years, and you have put my life in danger. I know people are helping to protect me, but I need to be put in witness protection. I can't even access my investment company to do my taxes because I have no safe way to do it. I already suspect they've stolen it, but if they haven't and I call, they will. Because, this is just about sitting back and laughing at the fun that everybody's causing, because this is a lot of fun, right? Political funnery. And the money was needed, for cokes and whores and the pleasure seekers and for gambling debts and for mobsters and shit like that. So there's hackers at my new job. So, you cannot shake what was set in motion. And it's now spread out and impacting good businesses, right? Potentially, where they could be looking at credit card information. That's pretty fucked, right? And so far, you've paid for murdering, kidnapping, sex trafficking, gang rape, job blocking, slander, organ trafficking, poisoning, a loss of contracts, right? And everybody's, the path is open. That's what everybody keeps telling me to make themselves good. The path is open. I can't get OPM to send my records. I've been on a 1-year run around to get my records. So somebody's called, bribed, and blocked, right? I tried for months and months and months and months with OPM. Can't get the records. Oh, they're in Boston. I call Boston. Boston gives me the address of who I've just dealt with. So I sense more fuckery, right? So we have another government agency that's not working properly. So, one by one, all of the agencies are failing the bribery test or the influence test of, people who are ordering hit jobs on people for no reason. So I want these people who paid, whoever they are, and again, don't assume, right? Because there's hundreds, thousands of people now involved. I want them charged criminally for the sex trafficking and the pay for porn and for job blocking and threatening our lives, right? Had nothing to do with this, and I will polygraph. And here, I'm at the point where people that I once admired greatly, I don't give a fuck who you are anymore, right? You're just nothing but a criminal at this point who's plotting murder, right? And you did it because of aggravated identity theft. Did you ever think for one damn second what that meant? So I want you to stop all your corrupt shit starters, Joe. And, I did what I needed to do to save my country, right? Nobody seems to appreciate that. And yet I did. And I want the shit in my life to stop. Gifts, quote, gifts have to work. They don't work if they're being sabotaged. And of course, the whole YouTube thing, I've been nothing but shadow banned. And I'd had fake monetizations by people who I don't even know, who are competing with me, who are continually stealing from me. Like a job. It's like a job. They sit on their ass and they make money off of me. They set up a fake bank account. I'm told it went to Switzerland, right? And everything I've done on here has been, just to enlighten people, because I certainly didn't monetize it. And I haven't made any money. And I don't know anything about the Vault Visa payroll thing that they're probably now screwing with either. I am told that the stinger in my life wanted someone else to receive my gifts, right? Because they were angry and thought I had something to do with it when I had absolutely nothing to do with it. And it could also be because, like so many of the people involved, they just don't want the 1% to have the money to fight back, to be able to get justice. And when you have extreme amounts of power and money, you can block the 99% from ever getting justice. So I have to wonder if it wasn't just about, blocking justice, really. So OPM, if you want the path to be open, somebody needs to help me get my records from OPM, because I have the sense that what happened in Boston happened at OPM too. So find the official that took money to never send my shit. So again, why am I doing this? Because Stinky Hill is out of control, right? With corruption and abuses of power. This nightmare in my life happened because of corrupt officials. And it's been a 6-year debacle, and I had nothing to do with it. But we're seeing the corruption in a lot of sectors. So I'm told that there's a church in Mount Shasta that's laundering sex trafficking money. So, think about that. I mean, what is the relationship of this church to women? Or what is the relationship in general of this group of people to women? I think that's something that needs to be severely looked at. And also, since they're laundering money, who on Stinky Hill is going to get the money back after they run it through their little whiz-bang machine, right? I think we need to know, right? I really do, Joe. But I'm told that there are other organizations that are laundering money too. So, it's like you just don't want justice for the people who were egregiously abused, right? And trying to hide all the filth. I'm told a bishop stole money and bought a house, but he's privileged, like all the others. And like everybody involved in this, they all think they're above the law and they launder the money and away we go, right? And this is where we are. We look like Russia, folks. We don't look like the America I know and love. We don't even look like a decent civilized country anymore. So, would I love the one true God to come down to earth? I mean, the God that knows better than all of this, the God that knows that you don't sex traffic women, that you don't use filthy pictures of children to make money, that you don't bully a human being to death, that you don't try to hide it all because it looks bad, because you know it's your hiding it all that's made it get so bad over the years. Yeah, I want the one true God to come to earth. I really do, right? But you aren't going to find him in some of the places you think you are. Now, also want to say I have extreme gratitude to everyone who's been helping my light team, the Democrats who are being enlightened as to what's going on, right, for the first time, and minus all the lies that were taking place so certain people could steal and thieve, right? But there's more than one. There's more people hidden in the woodworks, and they're sitting right next to you on Stinky Hill, and they've done some awful shit. And I'm also, want to say a big shout out and thank you to the FBI, to people who are getting rid of the federal agents who are involved in the drug cartels and trafficking stuff. And like with the CIA person who got yanked, you shouldn't just fire them, but because somebody tapped them on the shoulder and probably paid them a huge amount of money. And this is what you hide, right? And that's why it gets worse and worse and worse. So I'm grateful for the marshals, the FBI agents, the real police, the real detectives, the people that are honoring their duty, protecting and serving, right? And helping to bring decency and light back to the United States of America. This is Watergate times 1 million. And if we don't capture and stop where we are now, we're on the downhill slide. I no longer recognize my country. And it's a sadness beyond all sadnesses to realize that we've fallen this far. And then when it gets brought to light, the initial reaction of top politicians is we have to hide this shit, right? No, that's the problem, Joe. Hiding the shit is the problem. That's the absolute fucking problem. It's the problem that you let it go on for years and years and years. This national pornography program has been going on for a long time. The witch and warlock problem in people's houses, the illegal cameras. It's been going on for forever, Joe. And that's the problem. It always gets hidden. It always gets swept under the rug. And these people think they are above the law. And our side is abusing power every bit as much as the other side. We need God in this country more than ever. But we need to bring down a loving, decent, just, kind God, not one that hates wholesale groups of people. Okay? Now, my book, which got stolen, copyrighted by one of the copycatters, one of the people who's running around as me, I'm even told that they have a bought off whole section of the Justice Department. I'm already showing up as dead. Did you get that? They have acknowledged that I'm dead, despite the fact that I'm here in person talking to you right now. And they have a doppelganger who's running around with my stuff all ready to take anything else that comes my way. And I haven't received any of the stuff that came my way from winning the court cases because it all got stolen. Now they have a doppelganger who's working with an entire court system who's saying I'm dead. This is all the bought off DOJ, part of probably secret society, right? And my book, that's the first book, baby, revealed everything that happened in stage 1 of this crime. And that's why we have other investigations happening in our country right now. But eventually I'm going to write book 2, and that's going to expose the rest of this shit, right? Now, again, if you thought I was involved in stage 1, and I wasn't, right? And I will polygraph. I'd be so happy to do that. I wrote a book that's an exact blueprint of everything that happened in 2016. It's all revealed who did it, how they did it, how they were bringing money in. Then I stopped the coup, so we still have a democracy. I know some of you can't quite appreciate that, but that is the truth. And I stopped the coup. I gave them the blueprint of who did it. And I have been under attack ever since, both sides. Now, one of the sides probably attacked because they thought I had something to do with it. But even if I had, that still doesn't mean you can commit murder, right? Or sex trafficking. So whoever you are, and I think you know who you are, I no longer give a shit who you are. One time I did. I don't care anymore, right? You paid for murder. You paid for kidnapping. You paid for gang rape. You paid for poisoning my husband. You paid to put motherfucking witches in my house, to bully me to death, to try to steal everything I had, to squash my spirit, and keep me down. And here's my message to you. Read between the fucking lines, sister. Yeah, that's right. I hope you're understanding clearly, right? My spirit is not crushed. I will not be destroyed. I'm just waiting for you all to fall like a stack of dominoes. And it kills me. It does. It really kills me because I expected so much better out of people. But we are where we are. And though it's still broken, I did help to save our limping democracy. I inserted myself between certain people and certain entities. And I expect the Russians to come after me too, right? For inserting myself between that. So, my life is pretty much in danger all the way around. I spent 5 years on the ground bawling like a baby over what happened to me, wishing myself dead every single day. That's what you paid for. That wasn't insanity. That wasn't madness. That was torture. That was torture that was paid for, right? Torture in America for no reason. Torture, right? I want you to start practicing the word, hearing the words roll off your own lips, because that's what you paid for. You paid for torture, okay? But you did not kill my spirit. I will rise like a phoenix from the ashes, and you can all go to hell for what you paid for. Okay. Now, that being said, I'm also very sorry for the difficulties that are coming to people, because I went through hell. I know what hell means, and I'm sorry for what all of you are going to have to face. And I do hope you face it, because I can't bear to think of the fact that some of the people that did some heinous shit are still in charge, right? It makes me ill. So we need territories soon so we can quit fighting each other, because we're all Americans and we shouldn't be tearing this country apart. We shouldn't be tearing each other apart. We shouldn't be sex trafficking. We shouldn't have, politicians who owe drug cartels and shit like that. We shouldn't have a lot of things. And so when we break up into territories, and I do predict we will, because it's the only way we're going to get out of this, at the same time, we need to put in some serious anti-corruption and abuse of power laws, so that we can hang on to this amazing lifestyle that we've had, that we take so for granted and abuse egregiously from Stinky Hill. So my life has been in danger from both sides ever since this happened, right? And it continues. And again, I had nothing to do with this. Not one thing. Did you go after the Russians? No. Did you go after the people in my book who did it? I clearly made it real clear who did it. Did you go after them? No. Did you go after the guy that sold our data to the Russians? No. Did you go after any of the real culprits? What a pack of pussies. Sorry. It is what it is, right? Instead, you went after the women victims. Oh my God. And so many women have betrayed me. I had such a belief that women stand up for women, women fight for women, women help women to get ahead. And every woman I sent money to, books to, wrote letters to, here's how you solve the crime, here's what you got to look for. All of them tried to harm me. Every last one. Well, it wasn't just women, this was a general gangbang. So anyhow, just be careful who you're listening to at your places of work, because some people have a real agenda, and the agenda is to keep me down and broke, because they don't want the fact that they paid for this shit to come to light. So, okay. All right. Now, that being said, I have the second half of the solar eclipse reading for April 18th, and I apologize. I don't have cards to go with it today, because I'm working full time, which is great, because I'm back up on my feet, even though, my career's been blocked because OPM's not giving me the records I need. So I sense more fuckery there, but still I'm working and I'm pulling my life together despite the years of torture. So I'm far stronger than you people ever could have imagined. Read between the lines, baby. Fucking read between the lines. And in reality, it's you who are going to go down for the shit that you pulled on me, because we should not have a national porn program or torture program or witch and warlock program in our country. And I believe this shit's going to get exposed and fixed. I have hope and faith in the good, decent people of our country who are working right now. I see federal marshals working. I see FBI working. I see real cops and judges and people working to make this better. And I believe we can dream a new world into existence. But those of you that paid for this shit, you're going down. So, right? It is what it is, right? It is what it is. So, all right, but we're going to continue with the eclipse report. And again, I'm projecting way ahead on the nation's chart. None of the information I give on my website are other people allowed to use it. I can't copyright it because I have to live stream, right? You do not have my permission to use any of my astrology stuff or cards, right? Because you need to get off your ass and work, just like the rest of us. But this solar eclipse, which is going to happen on April 8th, 2024, is coming from our nation's chart. The last time I was online, I gave you the first half of the reading. I'm doing the second half now. I'm trying to prep people, because if you know of the energies in advance, you can harness them wisely, because that's the joy of astrology. That's what it's meant for, to do good things in the world, and to try to help make a shift happen in our country, to bring in a new world order. And also to warn you of upcoming dangers and things that could exist. And certainly there are many dangers that could exist. And last time, you probably remember, we really need to start thinking about who we are partnering with. We really do. Okay, you could say that of me too, right? I trusted people I could not trust. We have people who are trying to destroy our government that some people are partnering with. You need to start severing ties with those people. We need to reorganize. We need to break up the cartels. We need to fix where we are. And we need to be able to look back on this period of time and said, we put in our all and we did what we could to put America on a better track, right? Okay, that's what astrology is going to help us with. So I'm going to pick up where we left off. I don't have cards because I don't have time right now. Right? I have to make a living. I don't feed off of other people like vampires. So I only have so much time. So, but we're going to dig in with Pluto. You can love or hate Pluto, but Pluto is a very, very, very powerful force. And during the April 8th eclipse, it's going to be at 1 degree, 57 minutes of Aquarius. And it is going to once again start asking for power to be given back to the American public. And I think this is very important, because our leaders have shown us that they are no longer capable of wielding their power without corruption, greed, egregious abuses of power, not also mentioning, allowing corporate takeover of our nation. And we see that every day here. We have so many industries where they bring in suitcases of money, plop it on the senator's desk. The senator works for the corporation, even though we're paying their salary, and they can't do right by the American public. So we need to harness this energy for change wisely so we can reconfigure our country so it works for average Americans once again. It could also help to bring back the ever shrinking middle class, which is causing all kinds of issues in our country. And it could also provide a rare window to clean up the extremes in corruption that we now are witnessing with the host of new anti-corruption and abuse of power laws. Okay, so instead of being mired in what's wrong, let's start thinking about how do we make it right. I think it's become obvious to all of us that the DOJ needs a complete reset, for we now have a pay-for-play system that has been bought off by the rich, the thieving, by secret societies, and corrupt officials who are using pedophile pictures to skim vast amounts of money illegally from court cases, right? The DOJ has just been bought, and it's taxpayers pay for that, and yet the 99% can't even use the system because we don't have the suitcases of money. So it's not working for the American public anymore. We need polygraph tests daily, judges, lawyers, cops, so that we can get this system back on track. Okay, Pluto in Aquarius would allow us to do that if we harness it well. Advances in science and technology should also be geared to make life better for humans. We need to rethink how our technology is being harnessed by corrupt individuals inside and outside of our government to create a pernicious crime wave, along with indecencies such as the pay for porn programs that they are conducting in some of our homes, right? An absolute pay for porn. So we need to take care of these kinds of abuses. So rather than corporate greed and decaying systems that are no longer working due to corruption emanating from our esteemed leaders and hired officials, we should be focusing on the brotherhood of man. We are all spinning on this globe together, my friends. We have the power to annihilate ourselves with hatred, with bipartisanship, with racism, sexism, sex trafficking, pedophilia, dirty bombs, and other dreaded poxes. Or we can rethink our value system and consciously create an America that is actually for decent Americans of all backgrounds. Hopefully, that's something both sides can agree upon, red and blue. We are, after all, supposedly a nation of the people, for the people, and by the people, not of the corrupt Secret Seven, for the corrupt Secret Seven, by the corrupt Secret Seven. Okay. You could also substitute the Secret Seven for any corrupt gang that's currently operating, like our secret society, right? Who's using the pedophile picture, churches that are laundering sex trafficking money, or organizations that are actively trying to overthrow our government for their own benefit and greed. Okay. Now, healing is an order for the 19-degree mark of Aries, where Chiron now resides, speaks of using creative energy to birth a world that is not built on bitter competition. And I'm not making this up. This is what the Mindfire website says. So we are being asked to look at the bigger picture of our homeland, to overcome the strife once the crimes have been solved, and to tap into our spirituality to solve the dilemmas that face us as a nation. Leaders should take safety precautions for themselves and for our country, along with all of the other things the fourth house represents. That can also, along with the eighth house, indicate an ending to matters, a graveyard, so to speak. So you need to take that seriously, right? With Aries looming over fourth house, hot and heavy, like the god of war that he actually is, we have the power to annihilate ourselves with hatred. This could come via war, with shots fired, with assassinations, thermonuclear explosions, or even willfully set fires. Everything at present depends upon our ability to look inward and to heal. Healing, however, does not mean letting egregious crimes slide. Examples need to be set if we are to rid ourselves of this corruption and greed and filth. And I do see that being done right now with the removal of agents and judges who are working for the cartels. And hey, Porcahoathon, you're probably next, brother. So, we're getting rid of some of the people who are just mucking up the whole system. And that's great because solutions are required. I suspect we will see new leadership coming in, and let's hope they can guide us through the difficult energies set in motion by the previous crop of corrupt officials on both sides. Okay, everything in our country is at stake right now. It's our way of life, our freedoms, our right to leadership that is decent and lawful and that sets a good example, along with the safety of our homes and property. The very conscious will and soul of our nation is in danger at present. So please make no mistake. If you haven't already gotten what dire straits we're in, I'm here to tell you because I got stuck smack in the middle of it. And my life has been in danger ever since. And I had nothing to do with it, right? We're either going to go down like a corrupt Russia, and we're like this close, right? This close. Or we're going to pull our shit together and we're going to fix where we are. And we're going to do that by working across boundary lines, red and blue, spiritual, religious, men, women. We need to join hands, decent people, and fight for a decent America because we're losing it. We're really losing it. And that's very obvious to many of us out here. So God bless the good people who are trying. You are the one thing in my life that gives me hope at present. And let me tell you, it's been so very easy uh, to lose hope and to feel like it's not savable. I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that we are better than where we are. The worst crime waves in our country should not be emanating from the very people tasked with leading us. Okay, Pluto in Aquarius is here to remind us to rethink our value system to actually favor people, not greedy corporations and stockholders. Governments should be here to protect, but when they are out of balance, they instead take suitcases of money from entities that are actively working on our downfall via agencies such as climate change. When these disasters unfold, not only do they cause tremendous human suffering and loss, but the taxpayers are asked time and time and time and time again to clean up the mess being perpetrated by big business. Politicians that take suitcases of money from these entities are a critical part of the problem and are fomenting our downfall as a nation. I mean, they're setting us up for mass murder, which is what's going to happen if we don't get a hold of this climate change problem soon. And we may already be too late. Trillions in damage are accrued annually due to these disasters, and the numbers keep rising. This year alone, we have witnessed rain bombs and snow bombs that keep dumping unusual amounts of moisture all over the country. And in the past, entire cities have suffered the consequences of deadly hurricanes. Our acidic oceans can no longer adequately produce seafood, nor can they absorb much more heat energy. They have been absorbing the extra heat created by climate change for decades, and that is destroying a host of ecological processes, including the ocean conveyor belt, which regulates temperatures around parts of the globe. The disasters are endless and are impacting our ability to survive on planet Earth. But so long as we have corrupt officials and corporations at the helm, these disasters will not stop because greed is the religion of American politics. In addition to the need to place the power back into the hands of the people, we are also going to see a shakeup in our value system. And I believe that this will be executed by Pluto itself. But it will also come by way of Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus in the fifth house of our nation's chart. This powerful electric shakeup will be connecting energetically to all of the third house planets I mentioned the last time that I talked, that are all lined up in Pisces, including Mars, Saturn, and Neptune. Okay. Now, Saturn and Neptune for me often represent crimes against humanity that bear harsh lessons to be learned. Now, this could involve drugs, poisonings, nasty pictures, and the horrifying activities such as sex trafficking or pedophilia. For these are things that Pisces rules over, along with prostitution. The third house also represents all forms of communications, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even the news. And by the way, I keep hearing I have an Instagram account, Facebook account, all that. I don't. These are fakes. I had a Facebook account. I crashed it. I've never had Instagram. I don't have any of that stuff, just so you know. But all of these things, including the news, are in trouble right now. And these are the places where we are either pouring good things into the collective consciousness or where we are pouring sullied emotional content and filth into our mainstream thoughts using lies, nasty images such as the hot cum video that a family spliced together of me. I'm not kidding. They used voyeured images of my husband giving me a massage in my house. I'm a massage therapist, so we trade massages. But then they took the video that they made in my house, they brought it to their witch coven, and then they had male warlocks jacking off on my back so they could bring that video to court to show that I was, a prostitute. This is what these covens and secret societies are all about. So Anyhow, yeah, they spliced that in. It was called the Hotcom video, and they took it to court. This is the kind of bullshit that we've been put through so people could hang on to false money. And this is selling the third house of our collective consciousness. We also have false tarot card readers who are posing as spiritual healers when in fact some of them are practicing dark arts. And you have to wonder, if you let them into your house, what's going to happen? You should be thinking about that. Not only should our social media platforms be thinking about their impact, but so should various news outlets that spread hatred and ire as a form of business. Cousins, siblings, and neighborhoods could also become embroiled in what goes down with this third house energy. It's time for us to rethink our values and what we spread all over our social media platforms. Have they really brought us together, or are they being used to spread fake news, hatred, and outright lies? Okay, I've been using mine to spark interest in remaking America to something that we can call decent again. Okay, that's my main goal. Now, all of this action will be impacted by Jupiter in a really big way because Jupiter tends to expand all of the energies that it touches on, as well as Uranus, which loves to shake things up, to revolutionize situations, and to break the rules. It has a very maverick kind of energy. Uranus rules over such things as the internet, cryptocurrency, especially when it's in the sign of Taurus, autocrats, bankruptcy, bastards, broadcasts, catastrophes, sudden changes, clairvoyance, unexpected death, discrepancies, dynamite, eccentricities, electrocution, erratic behavior, evictions, expatriations, extremists, feminists, foreigners, healers, illegalities, lawlessness, and insurrections, amongst other things. Okay, so I'm trying to give you the things that are ruled by this thing so you can tell where the shakeups are going to occur. Now, Jupiter is often viewed as a benefic planet, but even more often than that, it just expands whatever energy it touches. And it rules over our belief system, ambassadors, legal arbitration, aristocrats, official assemblies, biliousness, blood pressure, churches and their cardinals, capitalism, charities, courts, copyright laws, Congress, the Supreme Court, embezzlement, financial gain, holy objects, honor, juries, integrity, litigation, plutocrats, popes, prophecies, publications, scriptures, sheriffs, senators, wealth, and worship. Taurus, the sign in which both Jupiter and Uranus are running shotgun in the fifth house, rules over possessions, investments, currency financiers, banks, loan companies, musicians, precious stones, stocks, strangulation, treasurers, and wallets, as well as anything we love and long to hold on to with a tight fist, including homes and children. So all of the shakeups that are forthcoming in this 2024 eclipse are going to affect the things governed by Jupiter, Uranus, and Taurus, as well as fifth house matters. So expect jarring things to occur in romances with children, including adopted children, commodities, and I would say also orphanages, creative endeavors, films, gambling, the upper legislative house, monetary gain from real estate, nightclub performers, parties, passions, pleasures, promiscuity, resorts, schools, sexuality, high society, social affairs, stockbrokers, and vacations. So you see where the shakeups are going to occur, and the banking system is right at the top of the list. But I've been saying this for 2 years. Expect a rumble in the jungle regarding all of these matters to occur during this eclipse season. Taurus is the sign of I have, I want, I possess. It's a stubborn energy ruled by Venus. That sly Venus fox and her feminine friends, which could be represented by the moon, will be vociferously expressing themselves because of the Mercury we talked about earlier, over the shakeups that occur due to the collision of Jupiter and Uranus. I'm told there are some pastors who could also get wake up calls too. Jupiter represents them as well, and I expect changes to affect the things they love also. For one, I've heard a bishop stole money and bought a house, right? Because we have people who are operating above the law. Epiphanies are also sure to occur as the action rolls out. Jupiter and Uranus is a perfect thing for revelations. Problems with adoptions could hit in a huge way, as could problems around churches laundering sex trafficking money. Love affairs may undergo upsets too. Foreign countries and officials of state will likely become important as well, either for good or evil. And it's all about where you choose to take your stand. Are you going to help fight this corruption and be a good doobie, or are you part of the problem? Scandals and upsets are going to come to light. People in the music industry could also garner unwanted attention. Whatever unfolds, just remember that our own worst demons and delusions tend to spring forth from our very own minds. Rudyard claims that the 18-degree mark of Taurus, where Jupiter is sitting, has to do with the ego latching onto material possessions. Since Uranus is sitting right next to a 21 degrees mark, expect unforeseen changes to come in suddenly. This, my friends, has earthquake energy written all over it. Now, this could come in the form of actual earthquakes or severe shakeups to our banking system, properties, investments, and halls of Congress. The 21-degree mark of Uranus in Taurus, according to the Mindfire website, has everything to do with randomly opening a spiritual book. And I bet you all have done this. I know I have. You point your finger at a line of text, and then you discern the message therein. Destiny is afoot. Look for signs and symbols in what you see taking place, but don't overburden yourself with trying to figure things out. What will be, will be. You could experience true revelations at this time, or on the flip side, you could get so embroiled in becoming like an absolute servant to collective thoughts and values that you can't see the light. Allow room for revelations and follow the path that seems right for you. With the North Node near the Sun, Venus, Moon, Mercury, and Chiron, fortuitous business deals in the communications industry could be forthcoming, as could other deals. Opposing all of this is Black Moon Lilith. Here again, a psychic feminine asteroid is gracing the 9th house at 20 degrees and 51 minutes of Virgo. This speaks of a cooperative effort, I love this, and I'm not making this up, to create a new world order. This is according to the Mindfire website. It is my belief that there are people linking their consciousness together to help enact this very destiny. Not only does Dane Rudyard see it this way, but I sense that good people in the courts, honest detectives, judges that uphold their oaths, and people in various other government departments and religious organizations that haven't lost sight of God are going to journey with this asteroid in an adventure, not only in consciousness, but in creating an America that we can be proud of once again. We are collectively dreaming a new world order into existence. This is being done with purpose and effort, and the signs and the synchronicities are already being seen in the 5D, and this is what's giving me hope. I see federal marshals acting. I see FBI agents getting rid of their riffraff. I see good people coming together to fight for what is right. Okay. Now, this psychic asteroid has been in the 9th house for a while in Virgo. And Virgo has everything to do with work, with craftsmanship, being of service, natural healing, and creating solid systems and organizations that work. Okay, really going through, does this work? How do we make it better? Virgo can be very discerning energy, and they want things to work properly. In the 9th house, issues such as mind expansion, worldwide contacts, the legal system, international commerce, publications, metaphysics, our higher abstract mind, and legacies will become pivotal. Okay. Other prominent subjects to pay heed to, and I say this because we've seen all the corruption and all the buying off of stuff, are juries. Make sure they're not bought off. Legal affairs, preachers, theologians, secretaries of state, trials, writers, voyages, and visions. Some of you who are following these predictions may be surprised and enlightened as the eclipse plays out. For both Jupiter and Uranus are pouring expansive and avant garde energy into all ninth house matters. Expect revelations and astonishment. Marvel at our ability to create a better world with the forces of our own minds. And I really think that's possible. I've read where people have meditated over particular cities and lowered the crime rate by a significant amount. So we are more powerful with our minds than we could possibly realize. And good people are working to improve our systems of government, belief systems, so that there's not so much hatred of women and other people, and DOJ. And if we work together, we could be amazed at what could actually happen. We can dream a new world into being, and in the process help to kick corruption out the door, or at least lessen it to some degree. Yes, there is a very spiritual component to what is going down during this eclipse, and believe it or not, Pluto is playing a role, for Pluto is literally the soul of America, and it is riding right next to Neptune. Now, Pluto and Neptune together can either be an awful God complex, like I am God, I am almighty, like Hitler. Or, again, it's all how you harness it. It can bring about otherworldly events that cause us to seek out the hidden meaning of that which is unfolding. Why are we here? What is our purpose, right? Profound experiences can help to enlighten us regarding our soul's journey here on earth. We all have hidden contracts with the divine. I do believe that. I have always believed that. And often you do not understand things while you're going through them, but you can look back at a certain point and say, okay, I had to be a part of that. I didn't want to, but that was a contract I had with God, and there were reasons for it. Some we would never ask for, right? Like 6 years of torture, for example. And yet those contracts are set in motion for a purpose. I'm trying to bring light to that purpose, that we need to fix where we are in our country, right? We need to heal. We need to find a better way. We need to become democratic once again, and we need to find solutions that work for everyone. Now, the mysteries of life and death become quite evident when Neptune allows us to peer behind the veil in a manner that can transform our values profoundly, especially when we start to think of ourselves as a brotherhood of man sharing this sacred space together. Believe that we can affect change, and we are halfway there. Transformative Pluto will also be pouring energy into Venus via a sextile during this eclipse. The partnerships that we form at this time could become quite powerful and potent, life-changing even. Emotional intensity and sparks are sure to ignite fireworks in some relationships. Extreme amounts of money will also change hands for others, and others yet will form earth-shattering love bonds at this time. Artistic endeavors of all sorts could be positively influenced now. It's a time to sing, to create, to craft, daydreamy films, to podcast, to photograph, to chant, and to speak out publicly about that which we would like to come into being. The quality of your work could really excel at this time if you are pouring efforts in, your own efforts. Don't slip into sensualism overmuch. Instead, harness the golden tongue, the pen, the brush, and create magic. That's what's being called for. Allow positive people in who truly want to help you transform your life. It's time to heal and to let go of the fears. Harry Truman once said, "We are not a nation built on fear. Rather, we were built on courage and imagination." That's surely, part of Pisces. Dreaming a new way of life into existence in our country is possible if we work together while focusing on light, love, and decency. America the beautiful can rise again if we heal our nation and transform our value system. The soul of America is in our hands. Craft the next 248 years well. Because according to my worldview and astrology, we are setting the seeds for the next cycle. God bless all of the good people who have been trying to bring this new world order of light and love and decency into being. And again, sorry if I get real, for some of the things I've been through. Yes, some people are going to go through some very difficult times. Am I sorry for it? More than you could ever possibly imagine. I'm mortified that some of the people are doing some of the things that are happening. I'm mortified at why they did it. But it is where we are. So all we can do is clearly face where we are, do our best not to hide it. I think hiding it is the worst thing we can do. And of course, that's what the government wants to do. But in reality, we should say, these things are not humane. These things are not decent. These things are not becoming of a godly nation, right? We have crimes against humanity that have been committed against women and children. And we not only allowed it, we perpetrated it. So here's to good people trying. Here's to the light team who's put up with more shit for me than I could ever imagine. Here's to the people who are putting their lives on the line to help save my ass every single day for what was set in motion. Here's to the hope that not only I can rise, but that my country can rise from the ashes, for we have burned ourselves to the ground, and what we do next, that's on us. Okay, God bless. That's on us.